At exactly 9:07 a.m., a CEO in a $5,000 suit dropped to his knees on a marble floor and begged a billionaire not to walk away, while the only person who could save him was being ordered to clean a bathroom upstairs. No one noticed her at first. She wore a gray uniform, a name tag no one bothered to read. For 5 years, she had learned how to be invisible in a building designed for powerful people. But in that moment, she understood every word the billionaire was saying, every warning, every test. And she knew something no one else in the room did. This deal wasn't failing because of money. It was failing because of prejudice. When she finally spoke, the entire lobby froze. Phones stopped recording. A man worth billions turned toward a black woman everyone else had ignored and smiled. What happened next destroyed one career, changed hundreds of lives, and proved that sometimes the greatest power in the room belongs to the person everyone refuses to see. At exactly 9:07 a.m., the glass doors of the Crescent Bay Grand Hotel slid open, and the temperature in the lobby dropped without a single air vent changing speed. Tyler Benson felt it before he understood it. He had been CEO of the Crescent Bay Grand for nearly 3 decades. He knew the rhythm of luxury, the soft echo of Italian shoes on marble, the polite hum of wealth pretending not to notice itself. He had hosted senators, movie stars, tech founders, foreign ministers. But nothing prepared him for the quiet authority that walked in with Zihao Chen. Chen did not rush. He did not smile. He did not scan the room like a tourist. He moved like a man who expected the world to adjust around him. And usually it did. Behind him walked 12 members of his delegation, all in dark, tailored suits, speaking Mandarin in low, precise tones. Their voices cut cleanly through the lobby's background music like a blade through silk. Tyler's stomach tightened. $50 million. That was the conservative estimate of what this deal meant. The Pacific Rim Investment Summit, 3 days, global press, Asian capital flooding into California. For Tyler, it was more than money. It was legacy, the final crown on a career he wanted to retire from with dignity. And right now, it was unraveling. "No one here speaks Mandarin?" Tyler hissed under his breath, tugging at his tie for the 4th time in the 2 minutes. Brianna Lopez, the front desk supervisor, looked like she might faint. Her hands trembled around the tablet she held. "The interpreter canceled, Mr. Benson. Family emergency. I called 3 agencies in Los Angeles. It's Saturday morning. No one's available." Tyler's heart began to pound. He had planned everything: security, menus, press angles. But he had trusted one assumption without checking it himself. That assumption was about to cost him everything. Zihao Chen stopped at the center of the lobby and asked a question in Mandarin. It wasn't loud. It wasn't aggressive. But it was deliberate. Brianna froze. Tyler smiled too quickly, nodded too eagerly, then gestured vaguely toward the elevators and chandeliers as if confidence could substitute comprehension. He grabbed Brianna's phone and typed into a translation app with shaking fingers. "Welcome to our luxury hotel," the robotic voice announced. Tyler repeated it slowly, over-enunciating, his voice rising like he was speaking to a child. Zihao Chen frowned, not sharply, worse, with disappointment. Across the lobby, pushing a janitorial cart that squeaked slightly on the polished floor, Imani Harris slowed her steps. She had learned, over 5 years, how to move without being noticed, how to clean without making eye contact, how to exist in luxury spaces without reminding powerful people that she existed at all. She wore a gray uniform with a name tag that said "Cleaning Staff" in block letters. No one ever read her name, but Imani read everything. She understood every word Zihao Chen had spoken, every nuance, every cultural implication behind the way he phrased his questions about security protocols, data privacy, and international guest handling. He wasn't being difficult. He was testing them, and they were failing. Imani felt the familiar ache rise in her chest, the ache of knowing the answer and being expected to stay silent. 5 years earlier, she had graduated with honors in Asian languages. Mandarin wasn't a party trick to her. It was discipline, culture, poetry, a bridge between worlds. But degrees don't pay rent, and diplomas don't buy diapers. Her daughter Maya was 8 now, smart, curious, already asking questions about why her mother wore the same uniform every day. "Mama, don't you ever sit at a desk?" she had asked once. Imani had smiled and said, "My job keeps the whole building running, baby." which was true, just not the whole truth. Zihao Chen asked another question. This time his tone sharpened. The delegation behind him went quiet. Tyler felt sweat soak through his dress shirt. "Does anyone speak Chinese?" he shouted into the lobby. Staff rushed in from every direction. Bellhops, servers, a sous chef still wearing his apron. They looked at one another, embarrassed, shaking their heads. From her place near the coffee tables, Amani knew exactly what Chen had just said. He was done waiting. She took a half step forward, a hand clamped around her arm. "Don't," Chuck Danner growled. He was head of security, tall, broad, used to being obeyed. "Get back to work." "I can help," Amani said quietly. Chuck snorted. "This is not your place. Go clean the third-floor bathrooms." "Not your place." The words hit harder than the grip on her arm. Imani swallowed. She had heard variations of that sentence her entire life. In classrooms where she was the only black girl. In interviews where her resume impressed, but her presence didn't. In this hotel where she was seen as part of the background. Useful, replaceable, silent. Across the lobby, Zihao Chen checked his watch. The message was clear. Tyler's composure shattered. He moved forward, desperation overriding pride, and before anyone could stop him, he dropped to his knees on the marble floor. Gasps rippled through the lobby, a CEO in a $5,000 suit kneeling in front of a billionaire like a beggar. "Please," Tyler said, his voice cracking. "Just give us a moment." Phones came out, whispers spread. A moment that would be replayed online within hours was being born. Imani felt something snap inside her. Not anger, resolve. She stepped forward again. Chuck reached for her, but this time she didn't stop. "He says he'll give you 5 more minutes, Imani said clearly. The words landed like thunder. The entire lobby turned. Tyler looked up at her, eyes red. "What did you say?" Imani met Zihao Chen's gaze and repeated the sentence in flawless Mandarin. Zihao Chen's eyes widened, just slightly. He asked her a question. Short, precise. A test. Imani answered without hesitation. Her pronunciation clean, her tone respectful but confident. Silence fell so hard it felt physical. For the first time since he entered the hotel, Zihao Chen smiled. Not politely, genuinely. He said something else in Mandarin, slower now, curious. Imani explained who she was, where she studied, why she worked here. When she mentioned Maya, her voice faltered, but she didn't look away. Zihao Chen listened, truly listened. Then he turned to Tyler and spoke in English for the first time. "You had her," he said calmly, "and you never saw her." Tyler opened his mouth. No words came. Behind them, an older housekeeper stepped forward. Lillian Price. 20 years at the hotel. No fear left to lose. "She tried to help," Lillian said. "You shut her down every time." Others nodded, quietly at first, then with courage. The truth, once spoken, refused to go back into silence. Zihao Chen looked at Imani again. "Show me the presidential suite," he said, "and tell me everything." In Mandarin. Imani nodded. For the first time in 5 years, she walked toward the elevators without pushing a cart. Her back straight, her name finally visible. And Tyler Benson realized, too late, that the most valuable asset in his building had been right in front of him all along. Do you think Tyler truly didn't know? Or do you think he chose not to see? The elevator doors closed with a soft, expensive hush, sealing Imani Harris inside a glass box with the most powerful man she had ever met. For a brief, terrifying second, she wondered if this was all a mistake. The lobby was gone now, so were the whispers, the cameras, the humiliation. Up here, it was just polished steel, reflected faces, and the quiet hum of ascent. Zihao Chen stood with his hands folded behind his back, studying the numbers climb. His delegation remained silent, eyes forward, disciplined as soldiers. Imani could feel her heartbeat in her throat. "Begin," Chen said in Mandarin without turning. She did. She described the hotel's security layout, the private elevators, the data firewalls protecting VIP guests, the redundant internet lines reserved for international summits. She spoke steadily, moving from technical detail to cultural protocol, the way she had been trained to do in classrooms that no longer felt like dreams but like preparation. Chen asked questions, sharp ones. She answered every single one. When the doors opened to the presidential floor, Chen stopped walking. You did not hesitate, he said in Mandarin. Why? Imani swallowed. Because I've been answering these questions in my head for 5 years. That made him turn. In the suite, sunlight poured through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating marble counters and a view of the Pacific that usually made guests gasp. Today, no one was looking at the ocean. Chen watched Imani move through the space like someone who had already claimed it in her mind. She pointed out details Tyler Benson didn't even know existed. Backup generators hidden behind art installations. Soundproofing choices meant to accommodate simultaneous translations. Kitchens capable of adapting to religious and cultural dietary laws. How do you know all this? Chen asked. Imani didn't flinch. When people think you're invisible, they talk freely. And when you're invisible, you listen. Chen nodded slowly. Downstairs, the lobby had become something else entirely. Security tried and failed to manage the growing crowd. Someone had leaked the video of Tyler Benson kneeling. The internet did what it always did. The clip was everywhere. CEO begs billionaire after failing to communicate. Luxury hotel exposed for internal discrimination. Tyler stood frozen near the front desk, watching his reputation fracture in real time on strangers' screens. Sir, Brianna whispered, holding up her phone, CNN is here. Tyler closed his eyes. Upstairs, Chen asked the question that cut the deepest. Why are you still a cleaner? Imani's voice wavered for the first time. Because talent doesn't matter if no one opens the door, she said. Because I'm a black woman with a degree people like to admire from a distance, but not trust with power. Chen didn't interrupt. She told him about interviews that ended when the panel saw her, about internships unpaid she couldn't afford, about being told she was impressive but not quite the right fit, about Chuck, about being told again and again to stay in her place. Chen exhaled slowly. Places are assigned by people who fear being replaced, he said. Then he smiled. When I was young, my family worked rice fields. No one saw me either, until I refused to disappear. The elevator chimed again. Tyler burst into the suite, breathless, sweat-soaked, eyes wild. Mr. Chen, he began, forcing a smile. We need to talk about the conference. Chen raised a hand. No, he said calmly. We need to talk about her. Tyler looked at Imani like he was seeing her for the first time, and it terrified him. Do you know, Chen continued, his voice cutting through the room, how many millions I have paid consultants to do what she just did in 30 minutes? Tyler opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Chen stepped closer. You had her. You wasted her. And you humiliated yourself doing it. Tyler's knees threatened to buckle. Sir, he said, voice breaking, I can explain. Chen's eyes hardened. Explain why a qualified professional was cleaning your floors while you begged me on your knees. Silence. Then a knock. The door opened. Lillian Price stood there, shoulders squared. Behind her were other staff members. Bellhops, housekeepers, servers, people who had learned courage by watching Imani stand alone. She's telling the truth, Lillian said. All of it. Stories poured out, every dismissal, every insult, every time Imani was silenced because she didn't look like leadership. Chen listened. Then he turned to Tyler. I will buy this hotel, he said. Tyler froze. You want to invest? No, Chen replied. I want control. The words hit like an earthquake. I'm offering $200 million, Chen continued, unbothered, above market value. You will sell. Today. Tyler's mouth fell open. I don't want to sell. Chen smiled without warmth. You will. He listed Tyler's debts with surgical precision. Loans, lawsuits, liabilities Tyler had buried under layers of image and denial. You can walk away clean, Chen said, or you can drown publicly. Tyler collapsed into a chair. Chen turned to Imani. You are no longer a cleaner, he said. You are Director of International Relations. Effective immediately. Imani's breath caught. And your first task, Chen added, is to rebuild this place so no one here is ever invisible again. Tears spilled down Imani's face, not from relief alone, but from the weight of being believed. They returned to the lobby together. The cameras exploded. Reporters shouted questions. Chen spoke calmly. Imani stood beside him, hands steady. Talent has no uniform, Chen said. Discrimination is bad business. And today, we corrected both. Tyler stood behind them, smaller than he had ever looked. That night, Imani sat in her new office, staring at a picture of Maya taped to the desk. Her phone buzzed. "Mama, are you coming home late?" Imani smiled through tears. "Yes, baby. But tomorrow, everything changes." The first morning after the sale, the Crescent Bay Grand Hotel woke up differently. Nothing about the marble floors had changed. The chandeliers still caught the sunlight the same way. Guests still moved through the lobby with the quiet confidence of people who believed the world was built for their comfort. But the people who worked there felt it immediately. The fear was gone. Imani Harris stood in her new office on the top floor, hands resting lightly on the window ledge, watching the city stretch awake below her. For a moment, she simply breathed. Not the shallow breathing she'd learned to survive on during 5 years of keeping her head down, but a full breath, the kind that reaches places you didn't realize were starved. On her desk sat two things side by side: a leather-bound notebook embossed with her name, Director of International Relations, and a crayon drawing from Maya, a stick figure, mother and daughter, holding hands under a sun that took up half the page. Imani smiled. There was a knock at the door. "Come in," she said, still getting used to the sound of authority in her own voice. Lillian Price stepped inside, eyes bright. "The staff meeting's ready," she said. "Everyone showed up. No one wanted to miss it." Imani nodded. "Thank you for standing up yesterday." Lillian waved it off gently. "You stood first. We just followed." Down in the conference hall, the room was full. Housekeeping sat beside front desk agents. Kitchen staff beside maintenance. For the first time, no one had been told where they belonged. Zihao Chen stood quietly at the back, arms crossed, watching. Imani took the front. "I won't pretend yesterday fixed everything," she began. It didn't. Years of being ignored don't disappear overnight. But today, we start something different. She spoke about opportunity, about training, about language programs and cross-department promotions, about judging people by skill and dedication, not job titles or appearances. "No one here is invisible anymore," she said. "Not on my watch." Applause filled the room, not polite, not forced, but real. In the back, Tyler Benson watched. He was no longer CEO, no longer powerful, just a man in a borrowed uniform, standing beside a mop cart, eyes fixed on the floor. After the meeting, he waited. Imani found him in the hallway outside the service elevators. "You wanted to speak?" she asked. Tyler nodded slowly. "I didn't understand what I was doing," he said. "I told myself I was being efficient, professional, but really, I just didn't want to look too closely." Imani studied him. 5 years of resentment flickered and then settled. "Understanding doesn't undo harm," she said, "but learning can prevent it from happening again." Tyler swallowed. "I'm trying." "I see that," she replied. That afternoon, Imani went home early for the first time since she could remember. Maya was at the kitchen table, homework spread out, feet swinging. "Mama!" "Wow," she gasped when she saw her. "You're home before dinner." Imani knelt and hugged her tightly. "I promised things would change." Maya looked up, eyes wide. "Are you still a cleaner?" Imani smiled. "No, baby. I help people talk to each other now." Maya considered this seriously. "Like a bridge?" "Yes," Imani said softly. "Exactly like a bridge." Weeks passed. The hotel changed. Language classes filled the evenings. Chuck Danner was reassigned and required to complete bias training or leave. Some did. Most stayed and learned. Journalists kept calling. So did universities. So did organizations that had never cared before. Imani declined interviews until Zihao Chen said gently, "If you don't tell your story, someone else will. And they won't tell it right." So she stood in front of cameras. She talked about being the black woman whose education was dismissed, about how racism doesn't always shout. It often whispers, tells you to wait your turn forever. She talked about Maya. She talked about dignity. The response was overwhelming. Messages poured in from workers across the country, from Europe, from people who had spent decades being unseen. One evening, as the sun dipped low over the city, Imani returned to her office and found a small envelope on her desk. Inside was a photograph. Zihao Chen as a boy, barefoot in a field, standing beside his parents. On the back, a single line was written: "The world changes when we refuse to accept our assigned place." Imani closed her eyes, letting the weight of it settle. Later that night, she walked the lobby alone. The same lobby where she had once been grabbed, silenced, dismissed. Now people greeted her by name, not because of her title, but because they knew her. She stopped near the coffee tables she used to clean and ran her hand over the polished surface. 5 years ago, she had stood here believing her life had narrowed to survival. She had been wrong. Her life had been waiting. Outside, Maya laughed in the garden, chasing the light between the trees. Imani watched her, heart full. Justice hadn't arrived with fireworks or revenge. It had arrived quietly, with listening, with courage, with the simple, radical act of seeing someone fully. And that, Imani knew, was how the world truly changed. What did this story make you feel? Do you think people like Imani are overlooked every day in real life? If this story moved you, comment 111 below and tell me what stood out the most to you. Where are you watching from? Which country or city? Please share this video so more people can see stories like this and start conversations that matter.